Hey Capricorn, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings. Take what works, leave what doesn't. If I don't catch your wavelength or storyline on this reading, check your other major placements. And there are no extendeds this week. That's just how I feel. All right. Overall, for the reading, it just kind of came out. I had already shuffled. I was trying to split the deck. I should still do that though. But overall for the reading, I guess we're getting two. We have Eight of Swords, messages, movement, messages, lots. Wait, no, Eight of Swords. Wait, I was thinking Eight of Wands. Eight of Swords. Self-limiting beliefs. What can and cannot be, not having a strong sense of the infinite possibilities, fears, anxieties, but they're self-imposed. Feeling like you need to be rescued when in fact you are going to have to be your own rescuer. And then we have Queen of Wands, intuitive, a highly intuitive individual here. You might be afraid of them. You might be worried about them. You might have to follow your intuition and you don't feel like you can. You might feel very limited in that. Something might be something's calling to you. There's something, your intuition's calling you to do something, but you don't feel like you can. Maybe you even don't see it quite clearly. You don't feel like you're this intuitive type, and yet your intuition's calling you loud and clear. But you don't feel strong enough to do it, or you don't feel like you can do it. You want someone else to do it. This is reminding me of Moses and Aaron in the desert, when Aaron's like, yeah, I feel a calling, but I can't do it. And Moses just kind of like, okay, guess it's me, because I can't refuse this calling, so guess I'm gonna have to do it. So there's a little bit of a sense of that you'd really like someone else to do this. That you don't see how you can do something that your intuition's telling you to do. Past, present, inner landscape, what's at issue, environment, to-do list, possible outcome. Okay, in your recent past, we have Five of Swords, difficult decisions. Something has to be sacrificed in order to move forward. You've been between a rock and a hard place, not sure which way to go. Not sure how to handle a situation, a lot of risk, a lot could be lost. Not sure how to deal with the situation, and not sure what thing you want to lose. Like sometimes it's just like, you know, there's this job or there's this job, which one is going to suck less, or which one has the drawbacks that I mind the least in this situation. So that's a little bit of what I see there, having to pick between drawbacks, not being able to pick what you want because that's not available, but having to pick between what's going to suck less. So difficult choices, no-win situation. No one's coming out clear winner here. So and I like the card just because it just acknowledges some of the realities that we have to deal with, and it, you know, it's not every situation is going to have like an easy answer or be solvable, quickly solvable. So this was a bit of a conundrum, a bit of an unsolvable situation. In your current situation, we have the Hierophant. So normally I think of the Hierophant as something very traditional, perhaps a traditional religious leader. This Hierophant, though, is very spiritual. I like it with this Queen of Wands. It's echoing sort of some kind of intuition, some kind of communication or spiritual communication here. This Hierophant is much less worried about the organization and the rules and regulations, and is much more concerned with the actual message to be received. This could be you receiving a message here, perhaps from relatives past, perhaps from a spiritual message. You are receiving some kind of message here. You're in a safe place. You're protected. You might be a little afraid of it. That's what I keep seeing, is being afraid of something, being afraid of your own spirituality or of some sort of intuitive spiritual message. It's very internal. I don't know that a lot of people know about this situation for you. So it's a pretty internal, the divine's trying to spell something out here. Something may have ended. There is some need for communication. And it's very spiritual. If we hadn't got that already with the Queen of Wands, we're getting that now with this particular Hierophant. That's not how I usually see the Hierophant. I usually see the Hierophant as being a little traditional. This is a very non-traditional Hierophant, though. Your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape. 4 of Cups. 4 of Cups is about repeated patterns, but not dissatisfied with a repeated pattern. So you might be worried that something's going to repeat. You might have wanted to break out of a situation, but you've struggled to find an easy way to do that. You're looking for spiritual guidance on how to get out of a situation. You're basically unsatisfied with your options. You're unsatisfied with the pattern. You're unsatisfied. You're unhappy with something that's gone before. You're also unhappy with the options that are before you right now, with the change option or the or you don't want to change the situation. You don't want to, but you don't want to keep going either. That's what I'm seeing here. Just a very dissatisfied. There's a sense of depression with this 4 of Cups, and I think 4 of Cups often comes with a sense of depression because it's like you're not happy with what's been, with what's happened, with what is. You're unhappy with it. It's been draining. And you might be looking at something and wondering if this is just more of the same. There's a sense of not being able to find enjoyment. So you may be feeling a little depressed about the situation. I mean, 5 of Swords, I mean, it's cold comfort, right? That the tarot is here acknowledging that we have situations that aren't win-win, situations that are hard to get out of, situations where we have to sacrifice something to move forward. Like, that's hard enough. And it's just, you know, if there's any comfort in the card, it's that, yeah, that is part of life and you're not alone in that. This 4 of Cups does have you feeling kind of alone in that and pretty drained by a situation, wanting to make changes but not knowing how. That's how I see this one. What's at issue here is 2 of Swords in reverse. This 2 of Swords in reverse is very fascinating because it's shown up in so many readings lately, and it's about coming out of denial. It's about realizing, seeing something very clearly that this is not working. This does not work. These two points of view, or these 2 truths, you're finally able to see them together side by side and realize that something's wrong. And that's what you're realizing here. Something's wrong. If you've been depressed, it's because something really is wrong. Something's wrong. And you know it, and you don't want to do it. You don't want to do what you have to do. So you can see that something's wrong. And the 2 of Swords here is like there's 2 truths. There's 2 truths, and they are not meshing. There's 2. It's like, but you said this, but you also said this. So you're realizing that the 2 things aren't lining up. They're not adding up. And for a while, maybe you were fine because you didn't want to go forward. You didn't want to do anything. But now you can't help but see that the 2 stories don't line up, or what's being said and the actual reality isn't matching. It doesn't work. And you're starting to realize that and see that there are 2 things here that don't work. They're not matching. They only looked like they matched for a minute, but there's 2 things that aren't lining up. They don't mesh. In your environment, what someone may be going through, you might not be aware of. 7 of Swords. 7 of Swords, sir. Again, this is waking up and having a realization. I mean, sometimes this deck, I'm using it because it's, you know, the Santa Muerte deck, and we're heading into All Souls Day, or the Day of the Dead. So this is 7 of Swords. Resurrection. Hold on. Okay, so we have the 7 of Swords, and this is basically somebody waking up to something. Somebody having some sort of realization, understanding that they've been isolated. This isn't you. This is something in your environment. Like, there's a resurrection here. There's the barriers being unblocked. And there's a sense here that this is relating to this 2 of Swords, this 2 of Swords reversed, of coming out of denial. This is, again, coming out of some sort of sleeping state, some sort of paused state, coming out of that, reviving. There's been a period of self-reflection. And now we're emerging, someone's emerging with a lot more hope. But there is a sense of emergence, a sense of having been isolated and buried and alone, and a sense of being able to come back to life and realizing what's gone on. So it's another card of realization, another card of understanding. It is a bit of a card of betrayal. Like we have the 5 of Swords here, and then we have the 7 of Swords. And the 7 of Swords is about having been betrayed. So someone is realizing or starting to feel like they've been betrayed. There's a sense that someone's been lying, or someone's been hidden. Something's been hidden from you. Or someone has felt like something's been hidden. And there's a sense that, especially in the way this deck deals with this, there's a sense of waking up to realizing that there's been some trickery, some sleight of hand, something hidden. But you already are realizing that. So maybe someone else is realizing that, or something's being revealed in your environment to have been sort of a fraud or a trick. So not to make you feel paranoid. Do not feel paranoid, okay? You are already coming out of the denial about something. You're already starting to see. You're starting to understand something. I feel like this Hierophant is about gaining wisdom and gaining clarity and seeing something that's been hidden from view, and that you are doing that already. You're figuring it out. You're putting the pieces together. You're putting the words together. It's like a word scramble, and you're unscrambling the words. You're doing the word scramble, and you're getting the words. You're getting it. You're starting to put a picture together, a message together. You're starting to understand something that's been scrambled and confusing. It's been confusing for a reason, because something was being obfuscated from you for a reason. Current situation, Knight of Cups. We would normally talk about this, or oftentimes people talk about this as a love offering, but I talk about it as like sharing your actual feelings. Here's a message. We started off with me thinking the 8 of Swords was the 8 of Wands, and that there were lots of messages. We do have this Queen of Wands, your intuition trying to send you a message. We've got the Hierophant trying to receive a message. Maybe there's someone trying to send you a message, and you're trying to receive a message about some sort of truth that's been obfuscated up until now, of unreliable characters. And then we have a Knight of Cups, so bring in your truth. And here he's looking back at the past, he's seeing something. And while he's seeing something, his horse is ready to make to cross some sort of threshold, to emerge from some sort of safe place, from some sort of garden, and to take a risk. This message has a risk. It has a risk that is full of emotion. So that's your to-do list, is taking this risk, this emotion-filled risk, exposing, clarifying, talking. This is basically, to me, an Aquarius type card, like authentic emotion in your expression. So communicating, as a knight would, communicating and moving forward boldly, bravely, as knights do, with authentic feeling. How do you really feel? You may have obstructed that yourself. You may have been in denial, been not able to communicate, right? We have this communication. We have, I just can't communicate. I just can't communicate this. This is saying you're going to have to find the courage of a knight to move forward and to communicate. Your soul already wants to. Your soul has its eye on the prize. You're just looking back at something in the past that's clouding your vision and making you feel incapable and incompetent. But there's you. Okay, this Queen of Wands is you wanting to communicate clearly. Maybe about something intuitive, maybe about something, could be something sexual, could be creative, a creative idea, and wanting to communicate about that, but not feeling like you can. This Knight of Cups is saying, be authentic, be real, and communicate. That's scary stuff. I'm not always good at it, but that's what it's asking you to do. So it's a tall order sometimes, really, especially if we've been in denial about something and we haven't wanted to see something and we felt trapped and stuck, and like we couldn't, this is all about feeling trapped and stuck, but yet piecing together some sort of message or some sort of clarity, and then finally being able to communicate about it. Possible outcome is 5 of Pentacles. This one's just showing like a path. Just keep going. Five of Pentacles is usually about poverty, being crushed. Uh-oh. Well, okay, that's a possibility. That's why the Knight comes suited up. That's why we call him brave, because there is the possibility of being crushed, of being left out, of being impoverished, being stepped on, being treated like dirt. Well, it could be that this could be a warning too. Like if you don't communicate, like you are going to be treated like dirt or discarded. You know, if you don't speak up, you'll be discarded. It's also true that if you do speak up, you could be discarded. And that's, of course, why the Knight has the bravery points, like why we think of them as brave. Like, because there's risks. There's risk in communicating. There's risks in speaking up. Knowing what you risk. But the other risk is not to grow. So I think you're very well aware of these risks. And you may lose something as you speak up, as you say what's on your heart. You might lose your pride. You might lose your sense of safety. But I'm not usually a big fan of no pain, no gain, but right now I'm seeing like no risk, no reward. So you got to take the risk, and it is a risk. It's a risk. But I think you are seeing clearer now. Something that you haven't seen before. So, all right, have courage, dear Capricorns. Best of luck on that. Thank you so much for your likes, subscribes, and comments, and I'll see you guys in a couple weeks.